Good morning, everyone. Uh, Happy to be back and trying to get you guys some information and content and all that stuff. Of course, have been really busy, which I told you about. So I want to do a little more in-depth update. Last week, the MPS World, and MPS II parents, and all of us got some big news. And there are some kinds of news that don't land in just one place. And this is one of those. They don't just feel hopeful, they don't feel just heartbreaking. They land in both places at the same time. Recently, as in last week, we heard that the Denali 30 trial has been FDA approved for compassion care and accelerated approval. This was after an enormous amount of parents had protested and took a casket and put it in front of the FDA because that is our reality. That is what our future looks like without treatments, without cures, without anything to help our children. And that is not just something that is an MPS world situation. That is anyone that has a child or a rare disease. Rare diseases don't get government funding, it's all private funding. So, when we advocate for treatments, for approvals, it's huge for us because it's everything we've got. If you don't know what the Denali treatment is, it is it's for MPS II only at the moment. I know that they're working on other trials for other types of MPS, but this actually crosses the blood brain barrier. And if you're not in the world, that might not sound like a big deal. But for families like mine, the sentence carries years of hope, research, loss, and what ifs. Because for so long, treatments have helped just the body, Elaprase. It did not cross the blood brain barrier. So, therefore, for those that were affected, both physically and mentally, like my boys, Elaprase didn't get to the brain. And this one reaches both. And here's the part that hit me hard. It's similar to what Gavin was a part of in his clinical trial for 8 years, except instead of accessing it through his metaport in his back, which tunneled into the spinal fluid, and so you had to remove spinal fluid from the spine and then reintroduce the drug into the spine to have it travel the spinal fluid up and cross the blood brain barrier, which it did. This one is given, though, through an infusion. So just a regular metaport on the front of his chest. So it's less invasive, more accessible, and more possible. And I felt it immediately. Thrill and pain at the same time. Because, yes, this is amazing for the future. This is the kind of progress families pray for. But it just sucks for the past. And if I'm being really honest, sometimes it even sucks for the present. Because this treatment is currently approved for children under the age of 17. And Gavin, he turned 17 in August. There are many type 2 boys out there that are going to be 17, have just turned 17, are 18, 19. As of right now, they would have to appeal for compassion use and hope that they would get approved. So now my brain starts doing what it does. What if? What if we tried? What if, even if it didn't reverse anything, it could stabilize him more? What if it gave him a little more quality, even if it didn't change the quantity? And then the other side comes in. The side that knows Gavin, the side that knows his story, the side that knows his trauma. This is about a child who has lived through more procedures, pokes, and hospital room stays than most people ever will. And he's a child who refuses to leave the house unless it's to go to Mickey Towers, his safe place, his joy, his version of freedom. So then the questions get heavier. Would traveling to Chicago every week for 4 months for infusions before we could even maybe move them to home be worth it? Would it help him? Or would it take something from him? And then comes the questions that keep unfolding, layer after layer, kind of like an onion. Am I doing this for him? Or for me? Or am I doing this for his brothers who love him in a way only siblings can? Who have grown up in the shadow of hospitals and unknowns? Who've already lost one brother? Am I doing this for his niece? The one who always asks to see Uncle Gavin, even when he's yelling, "No, baby!" over and over again. And she just keeps loving him anyway. Am I doing this for his nephew? For the memories they could have, even if they don't look like anyone else's? And then the question that cuts the deepest. Am I doing this for Wyatt? Because here's the part that has been sitting heavy on my heart. The Denali trial was happening at the same hospital while Gavin was in his own clinical trial. And at the time, we believed Wyatt was already too far progressed. No one brought it up to us as an option. No doctor suggested it, and we didn't push. We were already in survival mode, navigating one trial, one child, one overwhelming reality at a time. And now I sit here and wonder, should we have asked more questions? Should we have pushed harder? Would he have qualified? And the truth is, even if everything had lined up, Wyatt would be 19 this year. He would have already aged out of this current approval window. But if he had been in that trial, what could have it done? So those what ifs don't just live in the past. They echo into the present. They sit beside decisions like this one and whisper, would it have mattered? Would anything have changed? Did we miss something, or were we doing the best we could with what we had? These are the questions that don't have answers. The ones that sit with you in the quiet moments. The ones that don't get tied up neatly. The ones that remind you that grief doesn't stay in the past. It weaves itself into your present decisions. Because when you're parenting a child with a rare progressive disease, you are constantly walking a line no one prepared you for. The line between fighting and protecting. Holding on and letting be. Hope and peace. My husband has always been the voice of reason. The fixer, at least as much as he tries. And he looked at me and said, it won't hurt to get more information. And he's right. So we reached out. And as soon as the geneticist we can get us in for an appointment, July. Gavin turned 17 in August. So what does that mean? Do we rush? Do we appeal? Do we push and push and push until someone finally says yes? Because I know we could. I know we would. Rare disease parents learn quickly how to advocate, how to fight, how to wear systems down if we have to. But the bigger question is, what would this actually look like for Gavin? Not just medically, but emotionally, mentally, as a human being. What would it look like for our family after already spending years inside a clinical trial? Years of hope, years of appointments, years of physical and emotional toll. Not just on him, on all of us. So why am I sharing this? Because this is the part people don't always see. This is what it looks like to parent a child with a rare disease. Not just the love, which is endless, not just the advocacy, which is constant, but the decisions. The impossible, layered, no clear right answer decisions. And the way those decisions don't just belong to one moment, they carry the weight of the past, the reality of the present, and the uncertainty of the future. Because when your child has something like MPS II, you live in a space where time feels different. It just does. There's no expiration date stamped clearly where you can see it, but it's there. In the back of your mind, every decision, and every should we try this, and every is it worth it, you are constantly measuring time, quality, joy, pain, hope. Some of us who have traveled this road for a long time call this false hope, because that is what it is. Wanting so bad for a cure in your child's life, but it never comes. And then there's reality. And the truth is, sometimes hope hurts because it shines a light on what wasn't available before, on what might be just out of reach now, on what could help, but might also cost something else. And sometimes it brings up people you wish were still here to have had that chance. So right now we sit in the middle, gathering information, asking questions, holding space for all of it. The hope, the grief, the guilt, the love. And reminding ourselves of the most important thing. Gavin is not a treatment plan. He is a person who deserves joy, comfort, safety, and dignity in whatever path we choose. If you're listening to this and you've ever had to make a decision where there is no clear right answer, where every option holds both hope and heartbreak, I see you. And maybe the question we sit with together is this: how do we choose? Not just what gives more time, but what honors every piece of the life and the lives woven into that decision. Nothing's easy, regardless in life. And I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I wish I did. My husband doesn't have all the answers, and I know he wishes he did. But in this moment, I just want you all to think about the times where it's been hard to make a clear decision. And that's what it's like for us, almost on the daily. So I leave you with this today and let you know that I am going to still hold on to hope, and we're going to see what the doctors have to say in July, and we will go from there. And I can give more of an update after I have that more information. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thanks for listening.